Alright, hello YouTubers. I am going to be doing a tabletop review of the Altoll manufacturing adjustable sight tool for Glock pistols. This is version 1.5A. I believe they've had a couple different revisions. I'm not familiar with previous generations of this tool. This is actually the first time I've really done any sight work. But I've heard good reviews of this guy and decided to pick it up. Got them off eBay for around $60. It includes the sight tool here that you see. It's got basically two pushers. You have the slide clamp on the bottom, polymer block. It does have some felt lining on the inside there to protect your slide so it won't get scratched. And you've got the sight pusher on top here. And this can be removed and flipped around depending on if you're going to be removing or installing sights. And it's pretty well built. It feels solid in the hand. There's no loose pieces. Everything fits together really well. Just feels good. Very compact. I think because they did go with a reversible pusher, that allows this to be one of the most compact tools you're going to find on the market. It would be a great travel tool, I think, for making adjustments at the range or what have you. It does have some kind of nice engravings on the top there, the logo. Also comes with front sight removal for Glocks. So it's got basically like the hex wrench right there that you'll go ahead and get up through the slide and remove that front guy. Have my Glock 19 here. Let's get the mag out. He's empty. Clear. So yes, I'll be working with my Glock 19. Still has the factory sights, as you can see. And I'm going to be putting on some True Glow TFOs. So really looking forward to getting those on there. It's a very nice upgrade. So just to go into a little bit about how this works, like I mentioned, the bottom slide clamp, it's got a polymer block that's going to hold the slide in this corner here, and then the top is the actual pusher, and you can see that it's in, right now it's in install mode, because if the slide is over here, you're going to be pushing from this direction. So since I'm going to be removing the old ones first, let's reverse it. And you can do that simply by spinning the aluminum cylinder so it comes right off. Oopsie-daisy. And we can just swap this around like so. And thread him on this way. Okay, and we're going to leave it so it's all the way out because we want to make sure we have room to get the slide up in here without the sights getting blocked or anything like that. So we're going to leave them all the way out. And you can see that the pusher's got this angled portion, and that would be for sights like on the Glock where they're 45-degree angle. If you have other pistols that have different sights or maybe are more flat or vertical, you can rotate it and use the flat portion, so it seems pretty versatile. And that's one of the other things I like about this tool, is it can work with a variety of different makes and models of pistols, I believe, because of the flexibility there. There's a little rubber washer here that goes up against the pusher to also protect your sight from getting scratched or marred or anything like that. So let's go ahead and get him in position all the way back here. And what we'll do is we will go ahead and pop our slide off. Barrel on there. Okay, so here we have our 19 slide. going to be mounted in that corner right there. So just pop them up right up in here. And you can kind of see how he's going to fit in there, just like that. You can just hand tighten this side. And I would recommend positioning this so the sight is directly below the bolt, and that will give you the best contact with the pusher. So I'm going to push it in just a little bit more, okay? Now to kind of get that just hand tight for now. And you can see he's in there pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and grab a 1/2-inch socket, and that's going to work in both of these guys, the pusher as well as the slide clamp. So I'd recommend tightening it when it's on a flat surface to make sure that this is going to be squarely clamped in here. So let me just grab my wrench, and we will go for a tighten here. Not too tight, just comfortably snug. You definitely don't want to bend your slide, because I don't know if there's any coming back from that. So I'm not going to push it too much. Alright, so now that we have the slide clamped in there, we want to make sure we rotate our pusher so the angle portion is going to come up right against there, right on the sight. And then we'll just hand tighten this side here, and you can see it's already made contact there and we're ready to start pushing. So we'll want to grab our socket again, and we're just going to crank on this guy here, and these should come off with just hand pressure. We don't even need the wrench. We'll just keep turning this, and you can see our washer is deforming a little bit. That tells you that there's some pressure on there, and you can see the slide starting to come off. And it's a little snug. I'm having slight difficulty just by turning it with my hand, but that's okay. Give me a good workout. And you can see it's working its way out of there. Starting to get a bit easier now that we're about at the halfway point. And now it's getting pretty easy. And now we're just about out. Yep, and he's ready to drop out of there. Okay, there we have the stock sight. Just throw him into a bag, keep him safe. Alright, so now we've got the sight removed. So let's go ahead and unwind this guy, because we're going to be swapping him around to do the install. It's going to have to be in the opposite direction. So we'll just thread him all the way off. And I also think that we're probably going to be best off removing the slide again to get our new sight mounted by hand, instead of trying to wrestle with it and get it set in there. I'd rather just take it off. I haven't done this too many times. I've only done one install besides this one. So I'm just going to take that off real quick. Just loosen that up a little bit. Should be enough. Alright, so now I have the slide out. I'm going to get my new sights here. Alright, here we go. So here's the new True Glow. It looks like they have an adjustment bolt in there. It's probably to snug it down after you've got it in place. So I'm going to loosen that up just to make sure that it doesn't get hung up on the surface there. So, okay. And while we're at it, Might be a good idea to just clean that groove real quick. This is basically a brand new pistol, but just to make sure there's no gunk or anything that might bind up the sight as we're trying to get the new one installed. So that looks pretty clean. Okay, so we'll just get him started in there. There we go. And you can see they slide in a pretty good amount because that's tapered, so it lets you get him in there pretty good. And that's about it right there as far as pushing him in by hand. So now we'll need to go back to our tool, get our slide in here, and go ahead and snug him up. I think I'm going to go ahead and put this in now, put this back in, because what this will allow me to do is line up the new sight properly so I have a good contact area. And let's see, what are we doing here? It's like a rubber washer, just kind of got hung up there a little bit. Alright, so thread him in. Okay, so that adjustment bolt that's part of the sight, that's what I'm going to line up with the top bolt to make sure that I'm kind of centered in there and make sure we're pushing in the right place. So that seems pretty good. Let's go ahead and just kind of hand tighten the clamp part. And uh-oh. Looks like my washer got stuck on the other side. That should be easy enough to fix. We'll just slide them over there. There we go. That's easy enough. Okay, and so looking at this new sight, I think we're going to be better off using the square side so we can rotate this so the angled edge is on top and we've got the flat on the bottom. So when we're pushing, we're going to have a better contact area, I think lower. We could probably use this one and it would work fine, but I'm going to opt to go this way, I think. But first, let's go ahead and clamp this down a little bit harder. Get this slide in here. Alright, and just very lightly hand tighten that. We don't want to risk bending the slide at all because, like I said, I don't think there's any coming back from that. So, alright, so let's go ahead and tighten up our pusher, get him in position. Okay. And now we're just gonna turn on this guy a little bit. And let's take a look. Alright, make sure this top part, the cylinder has not rotated. We still have the angled edge on top because I want the flat part in the bottom. I think that'll just give me a little bit better contact. And we're now pushing the sight on. Really pretty easy. Doesn't take much pressure. And it's really difficult to tell where to stop. I've got a couple bore sights coming in, so I think for now we'll just go ahead and get them on there in the general area, and then we'll make some adjustments later. So that looks good enough for now. Let's go ahead and loosen that back up. Okay, we can spin this off to get them off quickly. And then let's also loosen up our clamp. On the bottom. That will release our slide. And there we go. We've got our sight now installed on there. Of course, it'll need some fine-tuning and adjustments, but just from eyeballing it, it actually looks pretty good. I think I went a little bit too far to the left, but that's alright. So there's that guy. And then I'm not really an expert on sight installation, but once I do get this fine-tuned in, then I think is when you'd want to go ahead and tighten down this little bolt to secure it in there. I won't do that yet. So also included, of course, as I mentioned, is the handy front sight removal tool, and it's a fairly thin little bolt up in there. You have to kind of feel your way, and it almost pushes flush to the very front of the slide, but it eventually will lock in there, and you can just unscrew him pretty easily. And this is definitely a hand tightening only tool. Do not put a socket on the end of this because you will strip it out. So this guy will come out after a few turns pretty easily. Looks like he's popped out there, so I'll have to hold on to him. And that's it. He's out. We'll go ahead and put him aside and keep him in the parts box along with the rear sight. Okay, I'll probably do the same thing. I'll grab just a little towel and make sure there's no gunk or anything that's going to interfere with the installation of the new piece. Okay, and here is our new front sight. We'll go ahead and unthread his nut. Okay, so the new sight should pop into the same hole. Make sure he's pretty decently aligned. There's a little bit of play in these, which I'm not crazy about, but I think once you get this in place, you'll be able to make the adjustments to the rear sight and not worry about it too much. So let's get him started in there. That feels pretty good. It's starting to tighten, so I'm gonna try to find the midpoint of where that's shuffling around, and then just continue to tighten him down. It's kind of tough to get around that screw head. It's so thin. There we go. And just make another little fine adjustment there to it. Alright, and that pretty much will do it. He's good to go to the range and get him fine-tuned. So that wasn't too bad. Yeah, I think that's about it. It's a great little tool. I like it. It's very portable. It's universal. I think it'll work with, probably all and any Glock that you're going to come across. I've got a 43 that I've already done that it's worked great with. No problems. I like how the pusher is swappable, so that I think keeps it very compact, and it does protect your slide, on all sides. It seems like a pretty secure, robust design, although fairly simple. It definitely does the job, and I would give it a thumbs up for sure and recommend it to anyone looking for a little bit cheaper alternative to some of the other higher priced, maybe a little bit higher quality units. This one is even a little more compact and does the job just about as well. So yeah, there you have it. Feel free to leave any comments or recommendations or questions in the comment section. Thanks for watching.